Hey guys, Miss Kessel here to read you today's story. This one is another one suggested by Rustin for a cowboy book for Canton wanted a cowboy book. So The Lone Ranger, what a great classic. I can honestly say I've never read this book before. I just got it off of Amazon in honor of my cowboys. So here we go, The Lone Ranger, a little golden book of classic. Oh, by Steffi Fletcher, illustrated by E. Joseph Drini. Young Tom Manson sat and hugged his knees. He was waiting for the stagecoach to thunder down the dusty road near his home. He wanted to wave to the stagecoach driver, Bill Mason. Bill was his big brother, and the best driver in all of Texas, Tom told himself proudly. At last Tom heard the swift pounding of hooves. The stagecoach careened around the bend. Tom jumped to his feet, waving and smiling. Then the smile on his face died. Bill, he thought, where's Bill? The driver's seat was empty. The reins flapped loosely on the horses' backs. The horses were running away. Their eyes were wide open in terror. Something was wrong. Without thinking, Tom raced into the road. Whoa, whoa, he shouted, and he leaped for the lead horse's bit. With all of his strength, he dragged at the horse's head. The stagecoach slowed and stopped. Tom scrambled up to the driver's seat. A piece of bright material caught his eyes. Part of Bill's shirt. Something awful has happened, he whispered. He jumped off the coach and he ran desperately towards his house. Pa! Pa! He shouted. Come quick! And then Tom remembered his father had gone to town and he was all alone. He would have had to find Bill by himself and help him if he was in trouble. Tom set off down the road at a steady lope. Meanwhile, not far from Tom, the Lone Ranger and Tonto were riding by. They heard Tom's frightened shouts. Listen, Tonto, the Lone Ranger cried. That youngster's in trouble. They spurred their horses and they met Tom on the road. Tom's face brightened when he saw the masked man on the big silver horse. The Lone Ranger, he breathed. It sure is lucky you came. Tom quickly told the Lone Ranger and Tonto about the runaway stagecoach. The Lone Ranger lifted Tom onto his horse, Silver. Let's take a look, he said. Followed by Tonto, they galloped off. They had not ridden far before Tom gave a frightened gasp. Look there, he cried. A figure lay sprawled face down in the road. Tom slid off Silver and ran to kneel beside the still figure. Bill, he cried. Bill, are you hurt bad? Bill groaned. Gently, the Lone Ranger helped him turn over. He had a bruise on his forehead. Who did it? Asked the Lone Ranger. A gang, said Bill. They got on as passengers. Why? Gold. I was carrying gold to the Yucca City Bank, Bill answered. Bill raised himself up. He pointed. They headed that way, he whispered. Better get a posse. The Lone Ranger frowned thoughtfully. No, he said, there isn't time. Tonto, you and Tom take Bill into Yucca City. I'll go after the gang. Tom jumped to his feet. Oh, please, he begged. Let me go with you. For a long moment, the Lone Ranger looked at Tom. Then he nodded. Okay, partner, he said. Guess it's your fight just as much as mine. They helped Bill up onto Tonto's horse, and Tonto and Bill set off for Yucca City. Tom and the Lone Ranger mounted on Silver and headed the other way. The Lone Ranger and Tom soon found the trail up on the found the trail of the hold-up men. "They're on foot," the Lone Ranger said. "We'll catch up with them soon." But suddenly he stopped. With a grunt of disgust, he pointed down. The ground was rough and trampled. Horses. They had horses waiting for them. "Looks like we'll have some hard riding to do." For many hours Tom and the Lone Ranger rode in pursuit. They clattered up rocky hillsides where the sparks flew from under Silver's hooves. They splashed across the wide river where the water ran fierce and swift around Silver's legs. "We're in luck, Tom," the Lone Ranger exclaimed. "The river's in flood, or those varmints might have ridden downstream and shaken us off their trail." The sun hung red on the horizon when the Lone Ranger drew rein. Up ahead, a thread of smoke rose into the evening air. "That may not be fire," the Lone Ranger said, "but if it is, those varmints are mighty sure of themselves. Let's check." He and Tom left Silver. On hands and knees, they crawled forward and peered through the bushes. Around a campfire, 4 men were sitting. Beside the men lay the stolen bags of gold. "Listen, boss," said one of the men who was complaining, "I don't like this. We should be making tracks." "Take it easy, Shorty," said the big man they called the big boss. "That stage still isn't due in Yucca City. We'll be safe across the border before it's missed." The Lone Ranger stepped forward. "Afraid not, mister," he said. "Afraid you'll be in jail." The hold-up men jumped to their feet. "Reach!" the Lone Ranger commanded, and their hands went right up into the air. "Okay, Tom," the Lone Ranger ordered, "get their guns." Tom collected the guns. Then he helped the Lone Ranger tie the men to their horses. The Lone Ranger and Tom led the hold-up men to Yucca City and turned them over to the sheriff. When the bandits were safe in jail, the Lone Ranger and Tom carried the bags of gold to the Yucca City bank. The bank manager clapped Tom on the back. "Bill came in and told us about the holdup," he said. "The docs patched him up fine, and he's good as new." "Then I guess our job is done," said the Lone Ranger with a smile. "I'll find Tonto and move along. Thanks for your help, partner," he told Tom, and lifting his hand in farewell, the Lone Ranger leaped onto Silver and galloped away into the dust. "Hi-ho, Silver! Away!" That's what they say on the TV show I watched when I was a little Nina. Anyways, that kid saved the day, really. Tom was looking out for his brother. So it's important to look out for each other. Look out for your siblings and your friends and your parents. Help each other out when needed. Because, sometimes we get into trouble. But if we help each other, we can solve our problems. Good for Tom. What a good kid. He's a hero. Anyways, thanks for the story. That was a good one. I'll have to keep that in my collection. I always like classics. So have a great day. Miss you all. See you tonight on our Zoom meeting. Remember, make a sign for Ella. It's her birthday. Bye.